existential as opposed to, you were trying to say, this isn't ego, it's deeper, it's bigger, maybe older. And
Yeah, older as in earlier in age. Yeah, pre-egoic.
that is so innocent. It has somehow released the whole session, like I released her to a massive extent, not 100, but in the high 90s percentage. The rest is just being willing to stay aware of my patterns. And even that is, I understand. I feel like I was given a deeper understanding of it all, and love came with it, with this. Oh my God. And you know what I mean. You're nodding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I mean, when we see that, I mean, everybody's going around kind of on the ego's case, but the
Yes.
ego's only a bit within the whole, you know, in terms of who we are, what we're about, what happens as we come into the world, go into that egoic phase, then awaken out of it. There is the essential us that is the essential us, and the egoic thing is,
It's
you
on.
know, it's not essential. It's a temporary way of being that is superficial to be able to manage the world during childhood that we then eventually seek to shed, you know, as we find security in adulthood.
Mm.
But yeah, that's what I said to you. That was a massive session, that last one, and you know when you commented, really, I thought it was a throwaway. It's like no,
Because I was incredibly uncomfortable. Like, I'm not used to being seen in that state. It's
yeah,
not.
yeah, mhm.
And so the ego, judged that as worthless, but oh my God, far from it. That was a turning point uh, in my life, I think. I feel.
Yeah. It was a revelation, and not necessarily a kind of spiritual revelation in that sense. It was a revelation that was worked here, you know, by us, you know, kind of weeding it out. It didn't come like a flash out of the blue.
No, and at first I wasn't understanding. How come you want to talk about psychology? This is way more deeper, or I just didn't think it applied. But I'm so glad you stuck with that.
Yeah.
It was 3 times you had to.
You're reminding me of 2.5 years into my psychosynthesis training. And I was raging that we've been doing so much psychotherapy and not spiritual stuff. But they knew their job, you know. And eventually I came to see it. You know? It wasn't about what I wanted, it was about what was emergent and what was needed. You know, so
Yes, it does also help me trust the spirit that works through you and us here too, together more.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Most would fear to tread here. This is a lot of trust. And
I'm not sure. I'm just feeling in the moment what you've said about staying with the psychology, and that is the word that gets used. And we both know what we mean by that. But there's a level deeper that explains it better if I could get the word on it. It's almost like not even the pathology. It's the, like sticking with the disturbance of it. And I know the word psychology gets used to kind of mean all of that stuff.
Well, you used
Um,
existential last time. That works for
yes.
me. That works. I get that.
Okay. Okay.
Existential angst. Like, I was aware of that as a child.
Mhm.
That's why this is so significant to me.
Mhm.
But I didn't realize fully.
Yeah. The word I was looking for was psychopathology.
Yeah, and that scares me because that sounds
Yeah.
like maybe you understand that word differently. I
I offer the word psychopathology in contrast to psychospiritual pathology. So psychopathology, then the way that the industry looks at how we have ended up because of what happened to us in childhood and blames our adult psychological disturbance and struggles on the traumas and adverse childhood experiences. That's why we're having this difficulty now in life. Whereas a psychospiritual pathology being causal, the psychospiritual pathology says no, it's self that's causal, because that higher self wisdom guidance had you become a certain way to manage childhood. Yeah. But equally poignantly, it's that higher self wisdom guidance, Holy Spirit, call it as you will, that is kind of squeezing you back to untangling yourself from it. Yeah. So that impetus for you to fully self-realize, fully self-actualize, fully awaken to who and what you are has to untangle you from what you're not. And that's what's causing the suffering. You know?
I literally saw like ropey thing untwist,
Mm.
like a multiple ropey. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Whoa.
almost like having a thorn in your finger. And you're like, ah, and then somebody goes to pull it out, and you're like, leave it, leave it, leave it. It's like, no, it's got to come out, you know? And so it's the movement towards the full healing that's causing the suffering, you know?
Ooh. Whoa. Oh, it just helped me trust this self we're talking about. It helped me then. Like it's filling in something, you know, how I was saying I was experiencing the loneliness from my whole lifetime, maybe
Mm-hmm.
past lifetimes. And this self I did not realize was there.
Yep.
It is so comforting that
Mm.
there's a loving self there. And when it took, by that evening, I was, yes, yes. Oof.
And you are that self in the realizing. You are that self in the becoming. You know, it's like looking at the acorn and being aware that the kind of impetus to be the oak tree is encoded in the acorn and it's going to happen. You know, that's where it's going. You know, so you're looking at the acorn, but you're looking at the oak tree, like, you know, kind of in potential.
Yeah.
And,
And that's the
and
self.
that's why ACL saying you are already accomplished. You know, at the core essence of who and what you are, there is that purity and that truth. You're just not able to function as it because of X, Y, Z.